Marriage Talk right here in Reverend Peter Kwei, Dagadu Methodist Church. We bring you this program every second Friday of the month with an important topic affecting marriages. And the purpose of this program is to serve as part of our church's contribution to the society by educating both marriage and unmarried couples. You can follow us on our social handles, that is Facebook and YouTube at rpkdmmc. You can follow us there. Today, our topic is duties of a husband and a wife in a marriage. Yeah, we want to know what is required of each partner in a marriage relationship, what a husband and a wife are supposed to do in a marriage. So we would want you to join us as we start the program. In the marriage, what is required of both a husband and a wife? When we say husband is the head of the home, what does it mean? Who must do the cleaning, the washing, and all that? Today, we will know who is supposed to do what and what. Thank you very much for joining us live. Without much ado, I would like to introduce our panels for today's discussion. I have with me here our own Madam Mrs. Esther Achre Manison. She is a counselor and a wife, a proud wife and a mother as well. Mama Manison, you are welcome. And then we have Mr. Welbeck, Mr. Emmanuel Welbeck, a retired account officer, a great husband, a father, and a leader of this church. Daddy, you are welcome. And we have here with us too Mama Justice Efia Sariboche, a high court judge, a counselor, and a leader of this church. Mama, you are welcome. And also we have our own Sir Duke Latte Jr., an IT specialist, steward, and a proud husband and a father. You are all welcome to today's program.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll start it. And so, without much ado, I will say, hey, Mama Manison, the duties of a husband or the duties of a wife. Duties in the beginning, then, Baze no de, Kuna na de, where you will fear, then there may be them no de, so. Depending on the circumstance that our woman, that is the circumstance side, determines how the duty should go. Traditionally, say that the Nino is the breadwinner. Obano does the washing, cooking, but this time, women are also breadwinners. They are breadwinners at home. So the situation in the marriage should determine. So now what is due become a role. So we are playing the role based on what we are experiencing. So if my income is higher than my husband, I take on more responsibility by adding the children, by paying. It's an agreed thing in the marriage. But what we should look out for is that when the table turns, it doesn't become a problem. So because my husband is not working today, he decides to do the washing. Now my husband is working and he doesn't have time anymore. And so weekends he's resting. And I'm like, if you're then it's a problem. So the situation you are in, you agree on what the duties should be.
husband. Okay, with respect to the husband and wife, duties are sometimes agreed between the couple. To some extent, the duties of the couple, the man and the wife. So we have one, the couple deciding or defining their duties in the marriage. Society also imposes amount of duty on them. And of course, our socio-cultural system also, to a large extent, also determines it. So these are a few that I want to add to what Isa has just said.
Thank you very much.
All right, I will take a different perspective, slightly different perspective. The duty is your ultimate responsibility.
Okay.
So me, as far as I know, the man is the boss. And then the next thing is that the Bible says that Yakupon can say, and yet say Unipa Kotana, Mayan is Sesobuafu Aman. The woman is the Sesobuafu. And the opinion leader, the woman is the helper. Now, whatever it is that needs helping for the man to be an effective leader is what the woman's duty is. But the man's ultimate duty is to lead in the home. So my sister was talking about things like washing and so on. And it's excellent that you say that it's a question of what the circumstances are. And it is a kobase. Oh, papa suffer. Na nejuma eni se odi efie nim na odi asori anim. Bi hu sofo maame on pempaibo. Osofo na juma na enye yie. Wajuma ne se wo bebo mpaye no waboa no watenetene no. Obi ohonoma, by the time they get to a certain level, they are not even interested in a wife who is coming to wash or cook or clean, because no baby ohia na yire no. Enye washing, any cooking, any cleaning asem, or benia, or konipemua, or denebeko, now obe hosti a mano. Now okofa ketra crab and redian and Nidian say or better polish was smiley, send your beya, or yenny deals now, you know, if they have to negotiate things, Uncle you be a said you only or Beko say connection in your. So the duty or the responsibilities or the roles will be determined by the circumstances. But as far as I know, the man is to lead, and then the rest of us will follow. And he has the ultimate responsibility of making sure that the home works. And then the rest of us will follow. Thank you.
You're okay. Sir Duke.
Thank you. I would like to say all of the above. All of the above. The truth is that I think Ephesians 5, 23, 24, 25 gives us the pattern that we are to follow, right? But in truth, we realize that you need to look at your circumstance, right? Just as our sister said, and that's to a large extent, being able to adjust according to the circumstance in which you're in, to a large extent will grant you some kind of success and peace in your marital life or in the home. And as our sister said as well, God has given us a pattern. He's saying that the man should be the leader and the wife is the helpmeet, right? Someone says that the way you should see it is a king, more like a king and a queen situation, not a king and a servant, right? So you are both ruling, you are both trying to control your environment or shepherd things for the good of the family, right? But it is not as a man being an authoritarian and seeing the woman as a lesser person, but it's more of doing it together. And when you do that, you'll be able to define your duties per your circumstance effectively.
Okay. So a situation where they said the man is the head of the family. When you read the Ephesians chapter 5 verse 23, they talk about the headship of the family. So in this situation and in Ghanaian context, when we said the man is the head of the family, what are they trying to say? Like I said, very man na ye afie ni tia. When Ghana sitting in Muntia, because a very man a fie ni tia. And you might be saying I was a bear man or as a head of the family.
Okay. So if you are looking at it in a Ghanaian context, and it means that Obemano is the head. Even when the wife is pregnant, she has to go to work, come back, wash, bath the kids, cook, everything. Then the man is there and everything mirror. That is the Ghanaian. Then they will say that you are a good wife. But when we are looking as the head, as Bible defines it, then that is not it. Because being the head doesn't make you, like our brother said, in position you are the leader, but in function you are the leader, but in like humanly before God you are the same. So you are the head function wise, but when it comes to you as a person, personality before God you are the same. So because we are modeling the Trinity in heaven, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. In function, they all operate differently. But if Jesus says that I and the Father are one. But as they are functioning, you see that Jesus said that I came to do the will of the Father. The Holy Spirit also says that I came to glorify the Son. Even though they are one, they operate in 3 dimensions. So when we say the head of the woman, it means that you are a covering. You also have a cover, which is Christ. Christ also has a cover, which is God. So like Ephesians you read, you see that 25:21 says, submitting yourselves to one another. It means that everybody must be submissive. Christ is submitting. You the man, you are submitting to Christ. The wife is submitting to you. The children are submitting to, so it's a chain of command. So yes, the man is like in the family is like, if you are a woman, the man is the umbrella. You can decide to hold the umbrella without putting it on, and you'll be beaten by the rain. As soon as you hold it, you are protected. So if you refuse to let the man lead, you'll be beaten by it means you've moved out of cover. Okay. You are exposed. Okay. So you can't debate it. The man is the head. The head in everything. Auntie said, he is leading and you are following. You are submitting to his mission. So he has a mission and you are the submission. So you are submitting to it. So according to his mission, where he asks you biblically, but in the home where we are living on it, then the house duties changes. But biblically, you are submitting or professionally to his mission, what he tells you, where he wants you to help. I've spoken too much, but like Esther,
you go on.
Like Esther and King Xerxes in the Bible, you see that Esther was able to take the position of Vashti because she missed it. She missed it. When the man was waiting for somebody to submit to his authority. She also thought that organizing the women, being position, so she missed where the man wanted her to be. But if you look at Esther, she says that if I go, this man hasn't called me, but if I go, it means that I stand a chance of he killing me. What do? She connected to the boss of the man, and she was able to penetrate.
Okay.
So in your submission, go above him in asking God where you can help him.
Where you can help
Yes.
him. Where you can help him. Thank you very much. Mr. Warbeck.
Yes.
Your take,
I
please.
think that embedded in the headship are some few things that the efficient story can help us. Embedded in the headship. What does it mean? What does it mean to be the head of the family? And then there's an analogy that Ephesians gives us. Reading it closely, you realize that Christ worked for the good of the church, so that he could present the church as a perfect and blameless something to himself at the end of the day. Right. So, and then we are saying that the wife too is under the cover of the husband, where the husband is the head of the wife, and to some extension, the entire family.
Mr. Warbeck.
Therefore, it suggests to me that
Mr. Warbeck.
it suggests to me that there's the need for the husband to love, to care, and to protect the wife. It is not domineering. Christ is not imposed himself on the church, but he worked and got tired of the church. So in the same vein, the man or the husband will have to also work.
Have to work. Working.
Working in the sense that he has to do all he can for the good of the family, and for that matter, the woman.
Okay.
That is how I say it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mama Efia.
Because you see, my husband is in management. I'm learning it. There is such a thing as, there's a difference in leadership, management, and all that. Now, there is such a thing as just having the good of the organization in mind. However it works. It connotes sacrifice, hard work, being available, and all that. It's the same thing. There are different kinds of managers. And I always say this. I have learned that the sternest and most unreasonable manager is not necessarily the best. The best managers are the ones who are able to move along with the people they are working with. It's the same for any kind of organization. For instance, there are those at work who will say, my staff, they don't like coming to work. When you call them, they won't come, they are always absent. And then there are those who manage to make the workplace so enjoyable that when the staff wake up, the day that they want to miss work, they don't feel fine. You can make your home, you are a leader. You are respected, but the kind of sacrifices you make, the kind of availability that you do, you bend over backwards. You don't have to remind your people every day. Don't you know I'm the head? If you start reminding your wife every day, I'm the head, I can assure you most firmly that you have failed. Because the whole essence of it is that when you fear anything, I know when I announcement, what I try and say, only fear anything. Yeah, you bet me, dear, that's yes, only fear anything. Yes, I know when you fear anything. When we were children, yeah, daddy boss kate and chum. Oh, people still do that. You don't have to let your wife be scared of you. If they want to speak with you, they cannot. Your children will be afraid of showing you their what do you call academic record.
Yeah.
You are the leader, yes. You are respected, yes, but we are not afraid of you. We don't have to be afraid of you. You are the leader, yes, but you are carrying us along. And you can see that the environment allows for progress. You are the leader, don't remind us. You know, there's something, my sister was talking about roles and role reversal and so on. If, for instance, you are the head of the home, but circumstances have changed, you don't have a job at present, being the leader, immediately maybe someone may have to take on a few more hours. So maybe, for instance, I'm a doctor and I have my regular work. I'm a lady doctor, I have my regular work, but because things have become difficult at home, I need to do locum, you know, extra hours, locum in another hospital.
Okay.
But you are available, you are the leader. You can also cook for us to eat. I have heard that men too, when they boil yam, so yes, you are the leader. The leader's only job is to make sure that the organization works. However, the leader will achieve that organizational goal. It's up to him, the leader, to do. And the rest of us, like I said, we are helping and we follow.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Sir Duke.
Yes, I think to add to that, I'll say firstly, we need to understand that the God we serve is a God of order. Right? If we read the creation account, before man comes in, he made sure that he has set the scene, effected, put everything in proper place before he brings man. And Jesus tells us that a kingdom that is divided against itself shall not stand. Right? And on that, based on those two things, I think we can draw from that and say that he has the family structure he's put in place. He set a chain of command, and he says that the men should lead and the women should help him lead. But their joint role is to ensure that both of them create an environment that is conducive enough for the family to grow and for the children also to learn from. They are learning from you, they are learning about God, they are learning about life, etc. But then when we go into an organizational type structure, just as Sister Ifea is saying, you realize that you have, and sometimes you have general managers or CEOs or some other direct reports to the CEO, right? And to the extent that the CEO is effective in managing those directly under him, he is able to steer and move the organization forward properly. To the extent that he is able to communicate a particular strategy or a particular idea, to sell it to them. You get it? It's possible for you to say, I'm the CEO, so from henceforth, this is what we are doing, right? And what you may have is obedience without commitment, right? So when people are seeing things are going wrong, because you said let's paint this red, they'll paint it red. Even though maybe at that particular instance it should have been slightly green. You get it? And I think when we consider that in the family space, you, the head of the family, the man, yours is to make sure that you are bringing the family along, right? When there's a need to take a decision, when there's something that there's a particular problem or trouble facing the family, you commune with God first, right? And then you share or you try to pull the rest of the family along with you in either taking a decision or charting a particular way forward, right? So I think when it comes to leadership, that is what immediately comes to mind in addition to what the others have said.
biane no oblaye na meba mebu mo ameba mechi no wani bi ya no mean what will you tell us?
Clearly, when the Christian principles is adhered to, Christian principles is just adhered to in the family by both man and woman, naturally these things may not come. Whether yesterday or today, God's principles are the same. Being a Christian yesterday is not different from being a Christian today. So me, what I say is that if you live by the Christian principles, right, it doesn't matter the time, whether yesterday or today. That's how I say it.
So okay, Mama.
Obema unim se wuntumi mono emuno no menware no. If you think that man is not worthy of your respect, don't marry him. Because it will not work. And was say to me worry obema ubetumi ebuno. So if there are those who think they are doing somebody a favor by marrying them, or they think that they are actually better than them, but they are settling for them because they be any say and now be at say onipano. If it's not difficult to respect someone like that, the way you feel is say if it becomes difficult for you to respect your spouse, chances are that right from the beginning you thought he wasn't worthy of your respect. But otherwise, it shouldn't even be a problem. And it's not a question of age or any of those things. I always proudly say it. Eric is only 9 months older than I am. We all graduated from Legon the same day. That's why when he celebrates his birthday, I don't celebrate mine. Calculate. But the truth of the matter is that respect is not something it just comes naturally from the person's bearing, the person's conduct, right from the beginning of the relationship. So if you find in the relationship prior to the marriage that please don't go, because it's going to get worse and not better. No, it's not helping. So marry a man you can respect in the pretty much the same way that a man should marry a woman he can love. If you think that the woman is not someone you can love, the relationship will not work. And even respect. You understand what I mean? Sometimes I ask them, how did you end up here? Oh, no, me here. When you say, no, na me who said Debbie, Usha, Nasa, dear, no baby, nebe hawa. If you think that Oba way and Abema way want to mean an introduction, now when I walk them now, and if you can't respect the person, you can't show the person off. And you're manco. That's what I think.
I would also say that to compare years back to now doesn't work. It won't work because even in Bible, realize that when a soldier gets married, Bible permits him to stay home for a year. A whole year, the man stays home, paternity leave for 1 year, you see. But now, even the woman doesn't get 6 months simple. So how do we compare today to before? The women were not working. They were home. And the man would go and come. But today, most women are breadwinners at home. So to compare the now to before, it may not work. But ultimately, I think that Daddy said something. If we are going by Bible standards, you see, the man, you are presenting the family God has given you blameless to God. 1 Timothy says that if you cannot take care of your home in harmony, you are not fit to lead. In fact, disqualified. So what we are saying today may look very simple, but we are talking about salvation issue. If you, the man, you fail in your home, you have failed. You have failed, because the whole marriage is depicting Christ coming back for his bride. We are the bride. Christ is the groom. So you are representing this on earth. So it is a very dangerous thing for Christians. That is why divorce is not permitted. Why? Because if you are for God, like Hosea, Christ said that marry a prostitute and feel it, the pain I go through when you people disobey me. So if you are representing God as the king in the home and you break off, you know, it is a whole communication. God is using our marriages to tell the world. So our marriage is to win souls. Somebody should be able to stand there, an unbeliever, and say that because of Mr. and Mrs., I want to be a Christian. So if I am a pastor in the church and I come to church and I'm praising every woman's dress and I haven't seen my wife's own, I'm in error. If I am a church member and I come to church and I respect every man, when I say respect, I mean reverence, I mean honor. Immediately pastor calls, I am there. I am in error. My service is not adding anything before God, because my God, my Lord, is in my home, and I need to start from my Judea. So it's a case study what we are doing. And then now you are major, and then now him say me na me yokunu, and you know, it means that you are a bad leader. So please, what we are saying may look very simple, but we are talking about salvation. We are saving souls through our marriages.
I think the answer to your question is yes, and it's yes both ways. The reason why I say that is, if you take the present situation, a lot of people are taking their life principles from what they see on the media, right? Whether social media, internet, videos, etc. Right? So you realize that men are not loving like the way the scriptures are commanding them to love, because they are watching others who may not necessarily be living according to what scripture says. And that is what they are setting as their role models and their targets to define how to love their wives. In the same way, you find that to a large extent, some women as well are depending on what they are reading, what they are watching, others they are seeing who may be reading and watching the same things, and using that to define how they relate and respect and submit within their relationships. You get it? So in so doing, you have a situation where in a home where the scripture does not reign supreme, or God does not reign supreme, people are basing their relationships on faulty foundations. And so therefore the woman would behave in such a manner that the man would say, you don't respect me. And the man will also behave in such a manner that the woman would say, but you don't love me. Right? But if both of them are focused on the source, which is coming from God, the likelihood of them not having that disrespect or lack of love would diminish.
In a home, we've talked about headship. We want to look at the spiritual side of it, the educational side of it, sexual side of it, all these things. We want to look at it. How should we go about it when it comes to spiritual? Say nkolaniti tiemu ewo fie ewo Kristo sumu humu ya send e was yetina ewo fie as a family head. I was say be ma no na ono hwe huhumu nyoma. I was say oba no na hwe den who should do what when it comes to the spiritual aspect of the home, when it comes to the education. Nkolaniti tiemu school kono I was say papa no kwa na ekosi omu school. Is it the duty of the man to pay school fees, to send the kids to school, to do all those things? When it comes to housekeeping, if you are yo, say if you was say obanen kwa and a proper fee twitwi nyomam esi nyoma ye wan is it whose duty? Why there was a day? And then when it comes to finance, one was one yiska be man kwa na was o yiska ana obanu be yiska ana ye de yemfa ye de no boy ataso na ye de bia nkwankwaji who should, when it comes to finance, who should manage it, who should pay for all these things? We have to look at. We will take it one by one and then we will talk about it. And when it comes to our social life, when it comes to sexual, bema nkwana I say debi okobisa ana oba wonso won kwan say enoka say papa and then it say all these things we want to look at it. So mama manisen ya obefe bia na budwedwe mai. Thank you very much.
Just about no spiritual aspect in as much as is a shared responsibility. Your very man said it. Yes, because in the book of Genesis 18, Bible say, Nyankopon say, I know my son Abraham that he will instruct his children. Obema no and yeshe structure no so according to 1 Corinthians okan ya and also nature say spiritually no wo papa no ona ye the father is the head, and that is why you are actually called the father. I mean we call God the Abba in Hebrew. So you are the head of the family. You are bonding the family together spiritually. The house bond, the husband, bonding the family together spiritually. So it amazes me when God got to the garden. He didn't say, Adam and Eve, where are you? Or when we are referring, we don't say that the God of Sarah, we say that God of Abraham, you know, what happened? What did they do? So as a father in the house, the wife is bearing your name, menacing. I mean, you hold it a duty to protect that name the family is bearing. So you are working it all out to ensure that the God you believe in, like Joshua said, it's Joshua that said, I and my house will serve the Lord, right? Like he said, holding it a high duty to say that together with your wife and children, you will serve this God. So but you see that it is very difficult. I don't know about your home, but my home, it is very difficult for my husband to say that, come and do family morning devotion. It is very difficult for them to say that, come and do morning devotion. But when they get to church, they are the first to pick microphone and you are sitting there like, wow, so you know how to do it. But you see, the thing is that it is a spiritual thing and it's a warfare. So it is the wife's responsibility to support where the woman is weak. That is why you are the help. Where the man is where the man is weak. So if you see that this is where my husband's weakness is, you cover up so that the weakness doesn't show. So if you know that he will get up, go to work, blah blah blah, without doing the morning devotion, get up early if you can. If you can, get up early, do all you have to do, and start the morning devotion. He cannot say he will not join, he would come and join. You see, so I think that we need to also strategize as women in the home, where we see that where we are covering up.
Yeah.
Where you fall short, that's where my strength is. So I quickly cover up, not to expose. So if you see a man who is saying that she doesn't give me sex, she doesn't give me sex, she doesn't give me sex, there is the likelihood that into so check. Sexual aspect and you'll be a juma, a do con abra, so me maya, nature say no me con. It is a one so debia one a do con bra. Say me maya, nature and two sorry nakase, and also for me on yes, me oh problem because you are the head of the home. Make a move. Me not me respond. When you come and I don't. Find a way to find out. Say, why are you? It may be.
Okay.
Say you are not performing well.
Okay.
About education is that we said earlier. Say depending on your situation.
Depending on your situation.
Yes, of the family.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. There, Mr. Welbeck. Okay. Okay.
He has to be up there, equip himself with knowledge so that he can exert that authority in the home.
So what about education?
Yes,
Is it?
Yes. Education again. Education. Okay, you go and Kabbalah.
Okay. Mama Efia.
So which of the parts do you want me to talk about?
They've talked about the spiritual.
From the way the answers are going, if the man is weak, you know. And my young say a lot of the men are weak. And I just say, to me, fellowship. I want to know. Because me, morning devotion, young papa and me, Conan on me, young command, you presbyterian, because I'm papa a Methodist.
Okay.
Timo has say now, we are bear ma who fear. Now, Bananama, it's your fault. I place the blame squarely on your doorstep. It's a man and Monsari Wakawai, Nafedia, Yabrekasa. Near Tosso. Becan Tintin and Coffee, I Becasa Mepeham. Tien Chasua. Near Tosso, sex.
Yeah.
You see, the only thing I am aware. Yet different from any other relationship is the sex.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll be marrying our friends, marrying our sisters, living with our brothers in Kasembie, Adriani, Obiani Munoa, Adehuroya Moken, Kofo Bebrenims, and a cra machine, Tiani Po Senior Ma, a dear baby Naka. It's the sex. Two Honomona say, you say, Ubetumia Waria, Nasa Sam, common in Hodia. Oh, Dada will cry that Nipa Bebrinti, and the Yen Chasukra.
Okay.
And that is the reason why the it is even not a matter to be discussed.
Okay.
Even the law recognizes that utina wariem ne di busu minsia na se sam komano momoya, it is enough grounds for divorce. and the court will grant it.
Okay.
Eti you calculate na 6 months no so ano aba. You bet you mama. And that's but I'm saying that it is such a foundational thing, the sexual relationship, that it cannot be compromised unless obi yare and now be etisa. But where all of them are fine, it is not something you deal with at all.
Okay.
Then the finances,
Yes.
it depends on the circumstances.
Okay.
Media mean to me say what works for me must work for everyone.
Okay.
If the person, and I've noticed, in fact, it's something I've noticed that a lot of women are not allowing the men to lead. And the men are so they have happily, like it's all relinquished their birthright to another person. Wa ejuma una ulidi. Una kawoye ni ome nyina no bi boa. Me de minim se me ba se me beboa. O se ji ejuma ni ye mame. Enya sa na ye kan no, Yakobon say wo ye ade. Me meboa. Wa ka se me meji wadwuma nye. So it is under normal circumstances obi ye bibi na waboa no. You know, many years ago while I was a young state attorney, we went to a place to eat fufu. Ye call ye no. Na papa bi waje fufuo esi nanim unse Kumasi de. Na fufuo na waje esi nanim no fufuo ne ketewa bi enam kwa forest.
Wow.
And there was a woman with me, my secretary. Apparently she was having a lot of problems with her husband concerning finances. Ni kuna kodi ehene. Oye busuamu nioma. Odi hene oyese. Edusu say ye ka school fees asempe. Papa ne say onisika. Ti ohun papa na waje aduane ne sa no. Then she said to us say papa enti sika sempa no yitu fia. Wa ba beji forest way. Esi nanim. That selfishness, people not realizing that they have responsibilities at home. Obi wo no ma your friend bibi outside gentility home cry and therefore no money ma de kwa me pache. But they are able to do everything for everyone outside, but their own responsibility they cannot undertake. You know you owe school fees. You know that you have to pay rent. You know there are utilities to be paid for. You know a lot of things. Maybe even your work is not going well. And maybe your wife is holding to the fort. But the day you are able to make a little money, the next thing you can think about is how to buy beer for your friends. What is it that makes you think that should be the first thing that occurs to you? That you want to spread. Oh, yeah, we'll now for them spread it. How? It doesn't make sense. So I am thinking that you know you are the head. You know you lead in everything. In everything. And then also there is a meeting. Meeting. I have a book that I keep minutes in. Ni achire se busumi we say your project be a ya. And near Sadia, yemfa we mfa ha ni yemfa we nsi ha. Some people, there are many things. For instance, if you are building, some people say it is the man who should supervise. It depends on your circumstances. I mean, if you are waiting for my husband to come from cocoa farm to supervise, but the person will resource you to do it.
Yeah.
And then you find what works for you and you do it. But nina, educational, whatever. Sometimes the lady may even have more knowledge than the gentleman. Because of specific things.
Yeah.
So you must not say, I have seen at work a lot, that the men will say, the children must go to this school because that is what I can afford. But is that what the family can afford? It may well be that if the family puts together the resources, the children need not go to this school just because of the cost, but that they can do other things. Tininina, the man is leading. We are helping you. That's why we came. We only came to help. So do your work, we'll help you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Sir Duke.
Yeah.
The social life.
I think before, I think a good segue, there was something I had wanted to say. And if I take my family, for instance, all the schools that our kids have gone to, it's been my wife that has selected it. And it is because I noticed that, so when my parents were taking decisions on which schools to be sending us to, I was too young to know the factors to look for, right? But I realized that the gap between my wife and her siblings, she was sort of active in that role, right? And I've realized that I learned to realize that she looks at those things with a different eye than I do. So it's something I happily delegated, right? Of course, when it comes to paying the fees, yes, just like what Justice said, the man should take the lead. But sometimes, yes, you know that, look, this school may be best for our kids. Can we be able to pool resources to ensure that we are sending the kids through that school? If yes, then we do so, right? So when it comes to things like education, for me, I know that yes, I'm watching the kids. I see her actively assisting with homework and stuff. The things that she may not, maybe because of her background, it's not things she focuses on, IT for instance. I take it upon myself to make sure that I'm the one that is leading the charge to educate them in that in that instance, right? So each family should look at their peculiar situation and their peculiar needs and see how they can best take the decisions that would help them. When it comes to sex, a lot has been said about it, but one of the things I think we need to understand is sex within the marital context is holy, right? I think sometimes there are some, what I've come to realize, there are some couples who, because of the so-called stigma that has been attached to sex, because of sex outside marriage, right? Even within their marriage, they are unable to communicate well. They are unable to express it. Justice is looking at me with an interest. She's looking at me sideways, But I think to an extent it is true. But we need to see that sex in marriage, in the eyes of God, is holy. It's a good thing. Indeed, on the day of rapture, it is very likely that some will be about to go, some will be in the middle, some would have just finished. They are all having the same. They are all having the same first class tickets to heaven, like all of us. You get it? Yeah. So it's something that we need to understand and not shy away from. Enjoy it because it's something that you deserve. Now, when it comes to socializing, I think that to a large extent, people forget what they were before they got married. I think largely these days, people focus more on the event, right? And they took these pictures and they did this and they had this. Now there's even wedding dances and all that, right? And they see who enters with the best dance and they forget that the things that led to that day need to be done even after that day. You get it? I'm guessing we'll come to that, but you need to make sure that you take those things that you used to do to socialize, to keep yourself happy. You continue to do that in addition to everything else. So that's what I'd like to say.
Yes, Daddy wants to say something. Daddy,
I want to pick on homekeeping.
Okay,
we all know that the homekeeping is the reserve of the woman.
Of the woman.
Of the woman, yes. Homekeeping.
Okay. Oh, that's
that is your role.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay.
That is
okay. It. Okay. Basically,
Basically, yes.
Okay.
And then homekeeping, we're talking of maybe the garden, the kitchen, the environment. Homekeeping. And then that is your domain as women. But then here again, the man being the head of the home should more or less give a hand in that. For example, when it comes to the picking up what do you call it? The trash. The
cleaning of the house.
No, not cleaning in. Cleaning the room can do. The flower pot, which is so heavy.
Okay.
Flower pot. Okay. The woman's role here is to keep the flower and things like that. But then, if the woman is so weak that she cannot do that, so the responsibility here is where the man has to come in to give the helping hand to manage the home as a father.
Okay. What of cooking?
Cooking, Cooking, it's your responsibility.
It's
Yes.
not a shared responsibility.
But again, what if the man? What if the woman is not at home?
Okay.
Definitely there should be eating.
Okay.
Definitely there should be eating.
So it is the duty of the woman.
It's a duty of the no. Basically it is the woman's role.
Okay.
But I'm saying that when the woman is not there, the man can take charge.
Okay.
And play that role effectively.
So it's a shared responsibility. Not that only the women have to do the house chores, cooking, washing, and all that.
Please, I disagree.
Okay.
Most respectfully, I disagree, Mr. Welbeck.
All right.
I disagree because a lot of things have changed.
Okay.
And the circumstances of every family will determine what would happen. Now let me use myself for an example so that Enkoye say asembi. Me sorry anopa. Me bo ampesi ne di na makwa adwuma because I'm not a tea kind of person.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll give Eric some to take to work because he's a tea kind of person. But assuming say mediane nyeda because nukre ni might be wo hono mo a o mediane wo de hye wani mu ana abawaso mediane nyede. Please, by all means, do what you are good at. Cook for them to eat. But me ukache me kunu say osori anopa one once your share yemfanum tia krasio na sebeshi. He cannot. He wasn't brought up that way.
Okay.
So for us it works very well. But I also know people. I have a brother. He's such a good cook. And he's a doctor. You met him.
Yes.
He's such an excellent chef.
Wow.
That me programmer, me here no ding. I won't look for a female cousin. Me here me brother no ding. And if you go to his home and you are not careful, one show you are no be you.
Wow.
Because he loves the domestics. I don't think that there are roles like that. Because yes, can anyone near Tiffy na yenko baby? Aduane nyina mamu bedi. And then it depends on your baby first.
It depends on your baby first.
Your baby first. Wa medical banu. What the money sisua? Baby. Let's not make it so rigid. In the same way that we are sharing financial responsibilities with you without complaint, you cannot approbate and reprobate. Edru we dia obegina we dia wonye da bi enya ne sa. Kambeka sembi but high inquiry TV so ntiminka. But want to make pray we and pray we nka ho enya ne sa.
Okay.
It depends on your circumstances. For instance, keeping the house clean. It depends on your circumstances. Obi wo honoma ne ho ye harewade yemu. Obaby so wo honoma wo ye so slow say the moment of starting so ya dia mu nyina mu be late. Obi wo honoma te say de ye ba sorry. Wo be hu no obi wo honoma osiesie ne ho onwie da. Enti wo se wo twan ma yere siesie nkola no ho asiesie obi a ho na mo aba mo be ba na osofo ka amen. Enti se wo hwe na wo betimi a giye. Na ye show bia ware e fa nware ye de.
Yes.
That's how I have seen.
Yeah.
Yen show bia ware e fa nware ye de. One show you now show bia ware e de ware wo de a wo betoto nan.
Yeah.
So whatever works for you works for me. I think that, for instance, look at my job. I thank God that I'm married to a man who is more focused on his job. Because me worry be more wada ajia kama worry begu. Because when I go to work, I spend forever trying to finish my judgments, and I'm trying not to bring work home. And to be a me check. First, not credit to me, but me wejumem. But me ba me menyaninti. You understand what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And someone may not understand it. So if, for instance, someone is married to a teacher, and the teacher is a perfect wife, okwe juma upon 12 and now 1 and now 2, acha 4:30, we see if you why bibi ewie. Now catch them me say, me kwe juma no, mama me bo ampesi ama ho. How? Because of the obedience ya wodie. And you see, all these things are choices we have to make. Yeah. Especially for mo amoye mrante ne mabawa mo hyase no. Wonim se wo pe obi obe wo fufuo ne abunabuna ma ode bia. Fa cha opania obenya kwan. ayama. That's how I see it. So, Mr. Welbeck, for some of you, you were fortunate to get good wives who were able to do these things, but some people cannot. And that is not to say that I am not a responsible wife. I am. My husband will bear me witness. But I think that it depends. Because me say, I feel that my daughters can come home and cook what they want to eat. When everybody wants to eat, when I come, I can see to the one person or something. So whatever works is what we should do. I should also think that while we are discussing this, let's get the children to pitch in. And then we are investing in our own. We need to get them to pitch in. Let the children also pitch in. Because and it doesn't matter whether you have sons or daughters. Thank you, Mr. Mensah.
Duke, we know. Who can be found? I want you to say something about this. Duties, no. Housekeeping and homekeeping. No. Daddy, I'm saying ancient. Person about modern kaka. Now me say, a day na woka e found because modern for no or much and masopa.
Well, so I think in my house, like I said, we look at the circumstance and we decide what is best. Okay. Yes. Because we have a helper in the house, the helper largely helps with cooking and stuff. I don't necessarily have to say that my wife needs to be doing the cooking. If she does it, we enjoy it. Today, for instance, I cooked kose. I prepared it from beginning. Yes.
Wow.
From beginning to end. Wow. You bear me witness. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And it's because I like it. And I'm like, look, sometimes when I want it, it is not there for us to buy. Okay. So why don't I learn? I went to YouTube, Google, checked, and did my own thing. So it's doable. You get it? Yes. It's not something that we need to say that this is a hard and fast rule. But sometimes the traditional, maybe you find that in your setting, the traditional works. Okay. Like she was saying, someone is married to a teacher and she has the time. She gets home early. She does what she needs to, right? But in my case, sometimes my wife comes home 7. Sometimes I get home later. You get it? So whatever works for us is what we work with. We don't really have hard and fast rules in this. When it comes to finances as well, I know there are some families that pool their funds, right? So all their income goes to one account, right? We don't do that. We have a joint account, yes, but it's not everything that goes into it. Of course, my wife knows everything I earn. I know what she earns as well, right? But we know that, look, there's some funds I need. If I want to surprise you, I don't want to go and take it from the pool, then you know what is happening. You get it? I have to be able to do my own thing. You get it? And she has to be able to do that as well. So yes, you look at your specific situation and you see what works for you, and that is what you apply. Okay. You get it? I think
very much.
Don't get me wrong.
Oh no.
I think the issue I'm saying, what I said is that the housekeeping basically is the domain of the woman.
Okay.
Right? It's the domain of the woman. But then, no, okay. But then, because the man is the head of the institution.
Okay.
He has a responsibility to see to it that the home is run and run well. That's what I want to say. Right.
Okay. That's Madison.
Yes, I would say that with all that they have said, there's one aspect too that know the person you are married to, because I remember counseling issue that we had. This lady was so much tortured with dishes when she was growing up that it became like a scar in her mind. So she, constantly said that she wants to get married. When she marries, so dishes she wouldn't do.
Wow.
She would never do. So she built a concept, and it was a whole issue for the man. You will get to the kitchen and the sink is stuck with the stove, a whole lot.
Wow.
But you see,
So
it was a problem for the lady.
Okay.
It was a psychological thing
Okay.
that it took counseling for the man to know. To add washing of dishes to, like, you are killing her psychologically.
Okay.
So like we said, it's family specific.
okay.
This is my family. This is what we do. This is house. The house is your domain. Even in the home, I mean, some families, the man would constantly take the hall. Then you enter and then constantly you see the man sweeping, and it's like the washrooms and the kitchen is for the woman. It's not something they have discussed, but based on their situation, it has become a normal thing. So I think let's try to create fun out of it and not make it like a rigid thing. It should be flexible enough for all of us to be able to maneuver our way through. After all, life is short.
After our life is short. Who is the primary teacher of values to the children? The children, yeah.
In that case too, after all my years of law school, I have come to the conclusion that the answer to everything in life is it depends. Okay. It depends on their circumstances, but mostly when they are really young, and that's the reason why when it comes to custody and all those things, we determine who the child will go to by their ages, their gender, and so on. When they are really young, because of the natural maternal duty of having born the children and having to bathe them and so on, it is the woman's duty. Okay. But by the time they attain a certain age, even then, they should be able to know that they are both. And actually now in certain jurisdictions, they have introduced paternity leave. Okay. Such that when the woman delivers, the man stays at home.
Okay.
And for a certain period, so that you help to nurse the child. And so the values, I mean, research has shown that by the time a child is 6, that child's values would have been generally set already. If your child will be a thief, you will know before the child is 6. If the child will be vociferous or not, reserved or not, you will know before the child is 6. So if we want to set the values, mostly it will be the women, but it depends. If you are married to a woman who goes on night duty 3 days a week, and is never there at 8, or is not available to wake the children up, to bathe them, to take them to school because the person is a nurse, and goes to night duty 3 days running a week, you can't wait for her to come and bath your children. You understand what I mean? Yes. So it depends on the circumstances. Okay. But generally for values, especially for girls, the mothers should pay attention to their daughters. Things like, excuse me to say, body odor. If an outsider or a father says it, it will be offensive to the child. But if your mother tells you, for instance, that because you are a girl or so and so and so, that's why I put lime in the bathroom for you, it's not offensive. And as they are growing, by the time they get to pre-adolescence and so on, and especially for the women, their body processes, they need their mothers close by. Yeah. There are things that your father can't do for you. And also, I have to say this, unfortunately, I have a prosecutorial background. Because I used to be a prosecutor, I have seen things that people should not see. I have learned, for instance, that if a man, some of the men, not all of you, God forbid, but some of the men, when they have to bathe their daughters, somehow, some spirit, I think, comes over them, they abuse them. Okay. So I have seen men who have, sorry, let's move on. Yeah, but okay. For that reason, I would suggest that, especially for the girls, values and general bodily well-being, the women should get close. Then the men should be close to their sons and teach them how to be men. Okay. We have focused so much on girl child. We have fantastic, well-achieved girls. They have no husband material. they have no husband material because the men are not teaching their sons to be sons.
Okay.
So the women are teaching their sons and their men, their women. They don't know what to do. They don't know that they are supposed to be responsible for a home. They don't know what they are supposed to be doing. So as they grow, get the men to teach their sons how to be men. And then the women too will teach our daughters how to be women. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to also add that the way we also carry ourselves around the home plays a very big role in imputing values in our kids. So we have to look at that as well.
Okay.
The way we carry ourselves about both men and women.
Mr. Welbeck, should the husband seek counsel of the wife?
One little thing.
Okay.
You see, women tend to be, I understand, attracted to husbands who are like their fathers. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you will find that if there is a girl in the house who has always been going to her father to ask for something, and the father says, I don't have. When it's time for them to get married, they do not look for a man who can provide for them, because they have seen somehow that, their father never had anything, but they lived with him. Their father never gave them things, but they lived with him. Okay. So you will find, and it's something I'm worried about, because a lot of my friends and I, we've been talking about it. Okay. We are marrying daughters, we are having daughters who are marrying men who cannot take care of them, but we are supervising the marriage. And they are going, and they can't take care of them. So the men, I will focus on you a lot today, because your children, men are not people who speak a lot, but your children copy so much from you, and we may not even realize it. If you see that your daughter has brought a son-in-law who you think is useless, it's your fault. You are the one who taught her that she need not marry a man who will treat her like a queen. It's your fault. So let's look at that. Let's look at the values as men and leaders we are placing in our children, our sons, our daughters, etc. If you have not been doing things personally, for something like market, I don't remember the last time I bought plantain. When Coco Krachi goes to trek, when he's coming, everything, fish or snails or mushrooms or whatever, he'll bring it. And that is not to say that he will not give me my weekly envelope. Some of you calculate. If they buy plantain, you want to deduct. You have to stop it.
You have to stop it too. You have to stop it. Mr. Warbeck, should the husband seek the counsel of the wife on all occasions affecting the family?
Oh, definitely yes.
Okay.
Definitely yes, because
why?
The woman is there as part of the family.
Okay.
And of course, it is not for nothing that God gave her to you.
Okay.
So it behoves on you, as for the good of the home, to seek her counsel in everything.
In everything.
Everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Kaji nu ni boyo tuepia kakesho yo nu efe mata.
And that is
the you in control.
See, that is the issue that we have. We have gradually accepted or welcoming some values which should not be. Right? We are gradually welcoming some which should not be. But therefore, I'm saying that it is important that we seek their consent or listen to them or ask them for their views on issues that affect the family.
That affects. So, Duke, the quick one.
I think before that, there's something I want to say. You know what you said about when a man is listening too much to the wife. Others say,
yes.
Others say so and so what. You get it. I remember when my wife and I started. It took us about 2 years before we had our first child, and I remember in that gap, you'd be hearing people asking, and when you got to a point. When I hear you asking my wife, I'll be there and I'll tell you what I will. I'll tell you my piece. You get it? And I think that you need to understand that, look, this is our unit, right? And so therefore, let people say what they want. at the end of the day, the results will justify the means. When you have been able to, when you become successful as a unit, when you've done what you need to, those who are saying the rubbish, there will be nowhere to be. You get it? So, on that score, I think that that is what I'll have to say.
And what about the discipline of a child?
So I think, really, I have nothing useful to add after what Justice said. Yes. But the truth is that men should, so let me use my family again. My wife came from a home where they were all girls, right? And in our house, we are all boys, right? She says she has three sons, myself and our two kids. And the truth is, sometimes I notice that there's a particular way she approaches handling them, right? There are times after I call them, I'm like, Auntie, this one, you should have done it this way, And sometimes also, leave her to do her thing, but then I spend time with them to guide them on how to think, or why she's saying this, why you need to do that, why you need to think in a particular way, etc. But I know that if we had all girls, it would have been tougher for me to be able to give that direction. You get it? So I think we can play our gender roles well and use us to inculcate the proper values into our kids. Of course, the boys also need to learn how to handle. They'll learn how to handle women by how they handle their mom or how they relate with their mom, and likewise, the girls will learn how to handle men by how the relationship between them and their fathers. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. You want to say something? Okay, a quick one. Okay.
The wives are controlling their husbands. My husband says, I can't say on authority, that the moment you see that people are saying that they are controlling you, it means your marriage is working. If not, you would have been at each other's throats, and then that one, they would like it. The other side, another question he would be asking, if you were enjoying what my wife is enjoying, would you not have liked it? Which one of us would want our daughters to be in marriages where their husbands treat them like trash? So pray for others to get, so that you too, your children will get the same thing. But I don't think we should be worried about these things. And like Uncle Duke was saying, when we were having challenges conceiving, it got to a point when Eric noticed that sometimes we went to certain places and I would be confronted by all these. He stopped me from going to those places. I stopped attending funerals in certain towns. I stopped attending weddings in those places because he said that those people couldn't keep their mouth shut. And then he told them, I've told them not to come again because more than that's it. So we need our men to, have our back.
Yes, I was going to say that on the consulting women or not, yes. Today, women are taking the role of men. Instead of the man paying your bride price because you want the marriage, you will pay, you are buying all your things. So as soon as they get married, that's fantasy. The man was like, yes, everything was ready. So when they got married, all this romance, maximum 2 years, got lost. So anytime the man sees you, he's like, did I really marry you? Or So there's so much pressure on him. You are so annoying, even though you've done nothing, because the foundation was not right. He won't consult you on anything, because in the first place, there's no edge. There's nothing for him to hold on to say that he wants to come to you. So you are in the house, because he can't go through the divorce process. So occupy the place of the wife in the home. By natural sense, emotionally he's busy in his mind. In this way, he cannot consult you on all matters. So some, yes, is working. that is how it should be. But if he's not consulting you on all matters, check the foundation. Check what's. It's true. We have said plenty. The man should love. The man should love. No matter what, love. But it is not easy. That is what Christ expects of us. But if we as women, we are also not doing what we have to do enough, even though that is what they have to do, they must be intentional about it. They struggle within them to do it. If you make it easy for them, magic, everything. Oh, buddy, they will say it. It comes so natural. And if you become more, you are not exciting everything, everything. He will go and live on the rooftop. He won't discuss anything with you. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, so say, Mr. Webeck, KFA, Namon is a naked mukwaji. Collab abajiku. Ajeku. It's an Igbo nue, Okong Ajeku. Allo ngan is a nigga. In fact, it's an ajeku cry as here. Nayata Koni Nicho, Nibian and ye marry. It's an affair kind of.
I think we are social beings. We are social beings. And therefore, some of these things are very important. But as to who has that responsibility, whether the man or the woman, I think that yes, but again, we should not be running away from the very onset, what we started with, that the man has a higher responsibility. Therefore, yes, he has to play that role. But then, it is not out of place when mommy says that, oh, Charlie, it is not out of place when mommy says, oh, or maybe there's a windfall for the woman, and she wants to at least let people show feel that is accepted.
Okay.
Right? So it is not a one-way thing. Though the man, of course, has that responsibility to make the woman look good and fine in the family.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Sir Duke, in a leg here, son.
No, it's an outro line. It's an favorite way. But I think Akashin really, it's the reason why you want to go out, right? Is to spend time with each other.
Okay, yeah.
Right. And Auntie Fia was just telling me that they don't really go out, but they socialize, they chat, right? And I remember something my wife was saying this week or last week when we had sent the kids to school, and I was working from home, she was working from home. She was like, no, we're here. When we have ourselves, it is enough, right? When the kids go to school, when someday they'll leave, right?
Yes.
And this is sort of a foretaste of that period, right? So really, the truth is, it is not necessarily the going out, but it is more of the quality of the time you are spending together, right? What you may need to do is to make your home in such a manner that you can have your spots, that you can be intimate with each other, or you can be close to each other. You can have that socialization, right? But that notwithstanding, outings are also good. If nothing at all, they give you new stimuli, right? You go somewhere, you see something different, something nice. It gives you something you can chat about or discuss. You get it. So I think that's what I'd like to say for it.
Yeah, so it's good, right?
You see, Brother Duke was saying that what you were doing before the relationship culminated in marriage. Me, I was not going out. I had a dragon for a mother. Throughout our dating period, I was not allowed to go out. But you could come and visit me anytime you wanted, and my brothers would be there. and we'll be pounding fufu and talking and chatting. Up until now, it's the same thing. I prefer to talk. Or sometimes and most of the time we are really tired. Instead of going out, we'll go to the village. You know how often we go to the village?
Yes.
So we'll just go to the village. And if things are better, we can ask the drivers, somebody to bring the children ahead, and maybe we'll come the next day. So that kind of thing. At the end of the day, the ability to talk wherever, because sometimes people fall into difficulty and finances becomes a problem, such that just going out for 2 kebabs and 2 coke can actually become a problem sometimes. Let's find a way of having our communication wherever we are. Just talk. And sometimes my neighbors say, what are you people talking about at 1 a.m.? You know, and I'll say, oh, I slept and woke up and we talked and then I slept again. Something like that. So you should, and some people say, oh, for instance, people might think Duke is reserved. Duke might be reserved, but not to his wife.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't say, media men pekasa, me mani bi wo ho amoye cheso mashallah gbese na monam mon kasa mo yere no mo ho. If they are not talking, I can assure you, if you spend $5,000 in Kempinski, they'll still not talk. And it becomes counterproductive. Let's just make sure that we have time. Time. There are those also who don't want to leave their kids. I've seen that. But they don't mind taking the whole family to go to Maha. But they won't go with you alone. It's okay. When you go, the children will sleep in the room with you and you'll still get the chance to talk. Yeah. So let's just look at what suits us and let's see. Because I heard somebody was saying that a certain powerful Osofo was preaching and saying that, okay, I won't say the name, says that from time to time you should take us to moving pick and A, B, and C. So that day that they took her to Golden Tulip, she didn't like. Because the Osofo said it has to be moving pick. You know, that kind of thing. But I think we should find a way. Okay. If it's a game, for us, for instance, we do these weird games, name of country, whatever, for hours. And we wouldn't have gone anywhere. So it depends on the circumstances. Okay. But whatever will help you to communicate and have fun, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So, let me add briefly that the women also, when they talk to us, we should keep quiet, because if your husband is a pastor and for some reason he's chatting with you and he tells you about somebody's problem in the church and it becomes a discussion for you with some other person at the church, then it's a problem. If your husband or your wife is a counselor and counseling somebody you know, and it becomes a discussion, sometimes we keep quiet, not because we don't have anything to talk about. It's because one thing leads to the other and the other, and by the time you realize, so let's be discreet. Let's be credit worthy, so that our husbands and our wives will also hold us in high esteem. Because some of us, maybe your husband is operating under an oath of secrecy, confidentiality, and so here advice be no beka. And busy I don't know, say when you problem, say. Why you won't discuss anything with you again. So please, let's manage the situation well, so that will be enjoyable for our partners to want to run home to when they close from work.
Yeah. Thank you so much. In fact, all of us have done well. For now, right now, we'll pause and then listen to our audience also. Probably they have questions that they want to ask, 1 or 2 questions. So we'll give chance to you to ask questions. Is there anything you want to ask our panel? Then, thank you very much.
Jesus lives.
He lives in.
There are three things that I want to say. I think when it came to this question of whether the man should lead with finances and stuff, there's an incident that happened in this church. There was a marriage that was celebrated here, and the marriage broke down just because the woman decided to take her child to some particular school that the man didn't like. And I had the unfortunate business of trying to patch up that marriage. One thing the man said was that where he comes from, if you're a woman and you pay school fees, it means that the man is useless. So it's a cultural thing. And he held on to it so hard that I was surprised. I mean, that was the first time I'd heard anything like that. And realizing that there are things like that, I think that as women, you need to be sensitive in an environment like that so that you don't get yourself into trouble. Because all the woman wanted to do was, the man already had 2 children who were going to a particular school. And then this woman had her child and wanted to take her to another school. The man said it was too high or something. Somehow the woman wanted to pay the school fees herself because she thought she had insisted on going to that school. So she was helping by paying the school fees, and that broke down the marriage. So that is that. The next thing I want to say, when it comes to these domestic things, you see, there used to be the old setup. I don't know how to put it, but in the olden days, life was very, very different. And when I say olden days, I'm not talking about 50s. I mean, in the 70s and 80s and 90s, life was very different from it has been from 2000. Now, the kinds of work that women do and men do are so different that sometimes it is the man who has time. Sometimes it is the woman who has time. Depending on who has time, you can do this or you can do that. So I do not think that in this day and age we should be teaching that women's roles are in the home and those kind of things. It should be more a question of what works for the particular family. And I'll give you a classic example. I happened to be somebody who was very close to my mom. So I learned how to cook and I could bake and do all those kind of things.
Wow.
So when I got married, I was very enthusiastic about kitchen and how kitchen should be set up and stuff like that because of that. Unfortunately for me, I got married to a caterer who also felt offended that I would take the role of doing something which able to do. So realizing that I didn't want to cause trouble, I just let it off. Because she's comfortable to do it. She wants to do it. And any attempt by me to do it is a way of saying that, in a sense, she can't do it as well. And because I don't want to cause trouble, now I've forgotten all my cooking skills.
Oh, that's
so
Thank
that
you.
is
Thank
the
you
contribution
so
I
much.
have.
Yes, there's a hand here. Thank you so much. Mr. Mensah.
Thank you very much. I want to contribute to what my brother and the sisters have said there, especially on the home keeping. You know, Auntie Efia will bear with me. In counseling, we have 4 pillars. First one is love. Second one is faithfulness. Third one is sacrifice. And the fourth one is transparency. When you get into marriage and you love your wife or you love your spouse so much so that you will never divorce. I used to teach them, what is your favorite food? What is your partner's favorite food? From there, you will start learning from your spouse and know the kind of food. When she or he is not in, before she will come, you have prepared that food for her. And also, in helping the ladies, they said men should not use their greater strength, but they should help them. Whilst the woman was washing, you can go and hang the things on the line for her. Okay. When the baby is crying and the woman is cooking, you can go and pick up the child, remove the diaper by helping. You can clean the louvers, you can mop the floor, you can help the lady in the house. And also, when you get into marriage, oneness, and also which means there's proudness in the marriage. And where proudness comes into marriage, no communication. Communication is bukula. But when there's a great communication, in marriage, honor will come. Intimacy will follow. After intimacy, there will be a very great sex in marriage. If all these things are not there, it is like a car where there's no fuel in it. It will be at one place. Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you too. Any other? Okay. Papa want to.
I want to ask about the divorce. Justice mentioned that 6 months, a minimum of 6 months, is required if a couple does not have sex for 6 months. It's enough grounds for divorce. Now, should the 6 months be continuous 6 months, or I decide 2 months I deny you, and then
interpretation class.
I deny you 2 months. The next 2 months I'm there.
No.
And then another 2 months I come in. Would you have to? Or is it be continuous 6 months? Please, sometimes it's
right. Balutu, the rules are like this. It is a continuous 6 months. Now, under the law, if you have not had sex without agreement, somebody is asking you, come in, what do come in? 6 months. In that circumstance, if the parties agree, the judge will grant a divorce without more, unless they want to go into it and ask, why are you not so and so? But 6 months. The second circumstance is that if you do not have sex for 2 years, then whether or not the parties agree, one party can have a divorce solely on the ground of
no sex.
Yes, more or less. So unless there is some other reason, you understand, maybe sickness or something like that, it is an important thing. Some of the issues that we have seen in matrimonial court, our social system is skewed. Na nipa no sebio we yeti asori dem ne ye kan so sebio egwamambo ehyegbema pii ebefo enti oye sa no you have evidence that anyway obefi o se me dem into me 6 months. It is and if it's 6 months and then the parties agree, it's enough. It's yension. Your body, in fact, the Bible tells us that your body is not your own. And even when people are giving themselves time to prayer, the Bible says that in such circumstances they should agree before they decide, say, yeah, bomb payenti. Yeah, yes, I do. Bimo or they haven't agreed with you that they are praying. And so say masori akoda said they be internet I've seen it in many places. When I was in Kumasi, I was on the Diocesan Divorce and Remarriage Committee, and it was something we noticed. Living room. How can you settle it? How can you settle it? But 6 months. To all of you, if you want to count your moratoriums, please start counting. And let's see who is going and who is staying. By 6 months upon the agreement of the parties. But if it is not the agreement of the parties, then after 2 years, If somebody they've not lived together as man and wife for 2 years, it can be a ground for divorce. That is that money sebi munye bibia. It can be a ground for divorce.
Na de granti na wo se wo yoba wo ye bema na wo da wanti hwink koso wo.
Just say.
Aden e wo se no ba bi keka na wo en keka na wo de na bibi wo ho. Oh. Okay, Mama Manisi.
Let me say, it has the sex, in as much as it's spiritual, it's also an emotional thing. It's from the whole body comes to play. Your face start from the what you see, what you feel, until it becomes sex. So, say, and you may be affecting psychologically. You know, me fan say, ya say, and only kununda sex and your beman kwa obema enjoy or banso SSO enjoy. So if you say now then so pampa the same style, no excitement. They be no other. Intino obema, yes say. You are the head, and your man you are the first person. Yes, we are just helping. If the woman is not doing it right, you teach. But one kasano initiate. If it's not going well, because don't forget that when the hierarchy is broken, when functionality is not working, it's not the woman's prayer that is hindered. It is the man's prayer that is hindered. It is the man's prayer that is hindered in the house. It is a bear say, me not for 6 months is any justice seeking. And so me play around, me they may satisfy me that. No, and Pabobi anyone nyami beti. Because you are not treating onyankopon your responsibility or say dono. Nyankopon dona to death. Udi onwu ya otiase. Unanyame say ni super crying ya. You still love. You are loving in spite of all her weaknesses. So you are not supposed to shene yaw. Say shene yawa and ebe una ni we nam echina ni sorry penny now une Joyce jina prayer warrior now ni we jina now church and the Bible now ni we jina in the name you know ni na wonya misumu enso so no enso nyame ni because empire obia oboni wa oba ni akomanto ni yemwa ekonyame
Okay, I have a second one, please. When I was a bachelor, my main problem was deciding what to eat. So during that time, I could go to the Osum night market. I would roam round. I would see bankum, I would see fufu, wache. I go around and go back to the house, go and take maybe Milo and bread and sleep with it. That was my main problem. So when I got married, I said, oh, praise the Lord. I have somebody now who will decide what I will eat. Because I couldn't decide. And that decision went to my wife. Fortunately for me, I got married to a caterer who loves cooking. Just like Brother George. So I didn't have a problem with food. Maybe yours would not be like that. My wife would want me to tell her what I want to eat. And I'm not used to that. So that was the only problem I had from the beginning of my marriage to today. She wants me to decide. And me to anything at all you give me, I will chop. That is me. So if you are not like me, please choose your choose.
Yeah, Enoch.
Oh, yeah. There's a question here. Please, this is not my question. I was sent.
Oh, you ask. You ask, even if you are sex.
So with the issue of denial of sex leading to divorce, we know sometimes partners use sex to punish the other person. So let's say
pastors use sex to punish
the other person. No, partners. So somebody is my partner. Should I punish her or should she punish me? Okay, one of us is punishing the other person, so the other person wants a divorce. When we get to justice, I'll say that she's lying. I'm giving her the sex. She says, I'm not giving her the sex. How? Because my intent is to punish her, or her intent is to punish me. So how is that one going to play around?
By the time they get to divorce court, Mama, if people come in for a divorce and I see that the two of them are sitting together, because if they can talk, chances are that the marriage is not broken down beyond reconciliation like they are saying. But when it gets to those situations, they would have exchanged documents. One will say that he has not had sex with me for more than 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, whatever. And the person will also write a response. It is true, I haven't. And I haven't because then they will say maybe they don't respect or I don't like their personal hygiene or whatever. And I also agree to the divorce. By the time they exchange documents that way, there is no hope. There are those who may come in and say, I think that there is still hope. I want to go for counseling. I want to do this and that. Even at the level of the court, we'll assign them to some other place. So sometimes we may follow. As for a church, because it's proximate, I refer to them a lot. But now that I know you, Mrs. Madison, we can assign them to you and see how it works. But the whole thing about punishing somebody with sex, I think it is juvenile to do that. It is a childish thing to do that. Because the whole essence of the marriage, the whole essence of the marriage is not that you want somebody to wash for you, or that like Paulo, you couldn't decide what you wanted to eat. The whole essence of the marriage is the bedmatics. Otherwise, Pacho forget. So if you know, for instance, that you are impotent and you are incapable of performing the sexual act, please don't get married. Because if you do and you get caught and you indicate that, oh, all along I knew about the problem, but I thought that if I get a wife, because sorry, no pa, who are dance yes, so your bema and answer on your bema, who winning. So if by then you know you might have a problem and you go, that one, the marriage will not, it won't even be a divorce. It will be an annulment. We will cancel it like it's never happened. Not even a divorce at all. So it is non-negotiable, that particular thing. It is non-negotiable. So somebody cannot say that, oh, sell more. And the Oma Vianini, so Oma Vianidi, or at the Onkasao. Please, if they say marry your friend, it doesn't mean that you are going to marry somebody who won't have sex with you. Now they
it's very, very important. Important. Okay, madam. Daddy, please.
Okay, my question is, a couple that has been married for years, they have children, and after their last child, the wife decided not to give the husband sex again for almost getting to 5 years now. And because of the children, the man is not willing to leave the wife. They live in the same house, but they don't sleep in the same room. If the man goes to the woman will insult the man and push him away. Let's say, for instance, maybe he feels for sex, then he'll go close to the woman. Because he knows that when he gets close to the woman, his manhood will go down and then he can sleep. So because of that, he'll go close to the woman and then the woman will push him away and then but in this sense, what advice will you give to such a man, though he's not willing to divorce the wife, but he too, because of the scripture and because of God and the love that he has for the children, he doesn't want to leave the marriage. though there has been advices here and there, leave your wife here and there, and he at times he doesn't cook for the man and all that. What advice? Because now the man has been punishing a woman for sex. But here, the opposite side, a woman is punishing a man lack of sex in the marriage. What advice can you give to such a man?
Is it the right thing to do?
Okay, there's a case we are handling. Obano will tell the husband. The husband is a pastor. He one day
I was saying
sex topic na papa ni preaching Christ coming for his bride, and according to the man, yedu fia na maame ka che ne say wo ne wo kan ye nyina wo nye fiti eneko se wo say aware a kingdom then na Christ neighbor and yet na hona twen Christo. So this is a real life case I'm telling you. Twen Christo o say ya wanye aware is not because of sex. Aware is not into bibie moi yendo to say like Christ was like a sheep to the slaughter, then they tsnasesa na twen Christo fitiene eko yewie se wo ye fi ukofo obi mema sorry for ate uko ye say and it's like a whole prison the man is in, and so it's a small church. And the man is so much afraid that he says it's a serious thing. So near Beman say ope sa okobunko tujwe. Obe bunko tujwe. This is a real thing we are talking. Obe pacho apacho sa because ontime enko abonting. The truth of the matter is that you see the man is your covering. You are supposed to respond to the man. When you break protocol, you've broken everything. Bible says that God is a God of order. He is not an altar of confusion.
Yes.
So whenever you break protocol, stop going to, in fact, denounce your faith. You've because the husband you are denying marriage is your Lord in the house. What you are saying is that nyankopon order no kra enye adwuma. Nature say to feel so be man na wo ye wa wo ho. Because just as Obama Obompire Obama ne bompire when treaty is hindered, no, because he is your covering, no. You've moved under the cover, you are exposed. And if you break the edge, the serpent will bite. It means that any free radical can hit you, and then you are gone. If the Lord has to kill you to save the man and the children, he will do it. Because you cannot continue the soul of a person to God. If he has to send his only begotten son to come and die, who can't he sacrifice? So if you feel that you are using this thing to feel like a woman in the marriage, you are digging your own grave. The only thing is that reverence him. Do what you have to do. Report in Emanyankopon. Even if Senuya Wabufu said they odia katawadina nafamano, and then you are fulfilling all righteousness, then you are opening the pathway for God to also bring that thing which you are asking him for. You understand? So it's an individual affair, even though but your way to heaven is an individual affair.
Mama, they said until Lily came. If somebody denies sex for that period of time, we just say, well, it is just a marriage in name only. But in my work, I have actually seen a certain woman. She's the only person I have ever seen who came to court and got a divorce, and the judge of her own motion decided that she was not deserving of even 1 CD in compensation. Because you see, normally compensation, we calculate it because of services you have rendered. So in the course of the case, then at that time I was a lawyer, the judge was saying that with this divorce, you are entitled to compensation. Then the man said, but I have paid her already. So how did you pay? He said, every day that I want to have sex with her, if I don't pay her, she will not allow me. And today, baby, I just saw Chianeka, and she said, "Nisika table no swa, or by your day." Hey, oh man, quite down. Around the sign, oh yes, just so that the man will realize how precious. Or at the end of the year, to become a baby, upon a make a chance to say what they make up, because this and that, you know. But honestly, the things that people can do in a marriage, and so you see a one thing, dear, a come. But I've seen people who have, and I said, dear mama, minimum crofons, say one going to try and panic chow padia, and your boy. Because I say, no more house, I demand free, and not much wrong. When they don't realize what you are giving them to, or not, so just all panic or answer. To whom so much you are now, I do panic on and I'm patching and I'm patching. What is it? But 5 years, dear, what they are doing, they are wasting everybody's time. Monomuso when your rooms, it's because they have rooms, so that's why they can sleep separately. Now, Kadani and Mienupa, come over then and when your baby are quack,
hey, I dare move for more. Last one. Hey, last one. Okay. And there you better, Mr. Kwei anyway. Your time is strong. Oh, 5 minutes. Be nanka your time is strong. You daddy put a mic in the dantino.
I want to.
Oh, they are trouble. Madam didn't say.
I want to stress on something Madam said.
Okay, daddy.
It is we, the men or boys, who go to marry. You have to pay the price. It's not the woman who has to. So if any of our sisters here wants to do that thing, you should stop. The best we can do is that maybe you buy the things and you have some you want to change, fine. But don't go and buy the things for somebody to use to come and ask your hand in marriage. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So Joshua. Daddy Bekasa last. Thank you. Yeah. Well, so Daddy Kasa. Now, yo, Joshua, go ahead.
I said, many mbanu be di incomoda. Obi wa ho no no. Ono ni nkomo ni eha no wa ware mu ani se. Bema no ono odi sini so 24 hours. Odi sini so pa on to be biom. Iti wo person ja ware iti because Antifia when you say you can say
excessive demand for sex can also be a problem.
Nia mama kaino and I can be make a very long time ago. Oko 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7. And with them you cancel it, see, I cancel when you know, be the tomb very manofo. Other than that, God will never listen to your prayers. God will never listen to your prayers. And in very much what them way fiasa yakwa ko ware. Me tumo funamoko fiamu kan 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7. Mpamu chow. Never questions are ye beside sister DA. Me pesere mami osofo. No omu nhihye sa de be busumu mienu echi. Ye benya question, ye benya answers amane question no because me bisa wo in ba he na wo bewo mienu miensa. Edubra bewo a wo be call mami ho ana ma be beba. Obanso how many days and how many months no bedi and son wako. Me, I write all this. I'm having a file for them. I write it on it. And it's all name. Na se conflict be beba. Na ye fremia. Ameka se niamu mienu no mo kan no mo ndesu na mo hontom. Thank you.
Thank you.
On Joshua's issue about excessive demands for sex, I have seen people who have such urges that neyere would do is go down to mintana. 2 weeks per and no suffer 2 weeks on to mintana. You see, some of you also muti nyami fie and so monti said ya muti nyami fie. You have not been able to control yourselves. You have no self-control. I said, when me ferry na meka Methodist for kola. Yes, just today, one of our colleagues who is also a Methodist was asking me, "I don't know Methodist for kola no. Omo warrant them, sir. Now I'm saying omo warrant them because they are taking control of contraband. Niani woman amo faintino monte hokwa, and that is the reason why you can sit for so long. Say Kenya dia. Many of you are having sex outside marriage, and that is the reason why you are able to wait for so long. But some people have excessive urges, and they have to work on it, because you cannot also be there 3-4 times a day. There are people, when the women dress up, it happens. And they say they can't. It is also the other side, and also Mbuaye. Mama Medas.
Yo, I say, I some na then so I dear son. Tino, yen na ebe fire last words na ye to omofo. The akeke nyina no. Ya bonitofa, bia bonitofa sima ba ko bi na. Yes, so we'll run it up. So your advise us, please. Okay.
My final advice would be that, like we said from the beginning, I will base it on the women. And I would, from the beginning, as in Genesis, Jesus referred to the Pharisees, that the reason why the serpent went to Eve to communicate with Eve was not because Adam was not there. Was because he wanted to break protocol. Said, has God said? Meanwhile, that Satan was already in the garden. He knew God did not speak to Eve. He knew God spoke to Adam. But he went to Eve. Has God said? Our ultimate goal in the marriage is to make it to heaven. What we are saying is that determine within yourself that you will not be the reason for which that marriage will break. You are working it out with every breath in you, constantly depending on the Holy Spirit. I can assure you, sometimes, I hope they don't hear, the men can be very annoying sometimes. Sometimes they can be very annoying. But because you are looking unto Jesus, who is the author of your faith, and he is the finisher of it. In fact, don't let them be the reason for which you will lose your salvation. And also know that happiness in marriage is a byproduct. It's not for you to be happy in the marriage. If it's a biblical marriage, it's for you to please God. So you are working it out so that as you are weeding in the farm, when you meet a snail, you pick it. But your ultimate purpose was not to go fishing or looking or hunting for snails. So happiness, as you are working it out, submitting all the way, respecting the man, go in spite of all the annoyance. Happiness, joy will come through for you. Because I know women are going through a lot, all in the name of submit. But do it as you are doing it unto the Lord.
As you are doing it unto the Lord.
Right. I want to say this. For we the men, please, it is not for nothing that God made us the head of the family. It's not for nothing. If you are able to live by it, as perform that leadership role, there's so much blessings for us. And for the women, yes, you are the helpmate. But then, in doing that, it is not in a passive manner. Me, dear, I'm there to help. Just like that. God has a reason for bringing you in that home as a helpmate. There's a role for you to play to make the home a complete home. So it is for us women to be active, do their best to perform that role. And again, the blessings therein will be ours. Amen.
Amen. My contribution is very simple, that let's not take ourselves too seriously. Tension tension is too much. People should relax. Relax. Our and a friend saying exams now control and I've been pass it. We just relax in the marriage. I think that and common but I don't know, but this whole, I don't know how in our relationships we have developed such that if you want to talk to your husband too, you want to dot your I's and cross your T's and mind your P's and Q's and make sure that that kind of thing. No, let's not all take ourselves too seriously. In fact, sometimes I didn't cry, but no shena said and talk about. No way, you find a lot of ways of doing it. If, for instance, I wake, some people are not morning people, but every day I make it a point that I wake this man up, even if I know he slept with his Singapore people at 3 a.m. 5:30 and at 6 now me see when my friend. No, you don't need to be so serious about anything and everything. Tension no does no do. People should chill.
Yeah, people should chill. Thank you so much, Ejuk.
Yes, that's very true. And also true is the fact that marriage is not something to be taken lightly, right? You need to be intentional about it. For those who are not married, perhaps you need to be focused. You need to take it to prayer. You need to open your eyes, right? And for those who are married, you need to make sure that you are intentional about making sure that your marriage works and you create a jovial and happy environment for each other. So that's what I would like to end with. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, we thank God so much. You all agree with me that today has been a wonderful day. All our discussion, akoye pa na eyemo na mama ade akoye. Enti aside bi wo ho a ye de merade nenso ye de bi mamo. Say ye fremo baby amuwo masiesie madwindwu maye ni nyina mayiye nsem na no ama bibia toye na si edamase Nyankopon onkoso onhyiam ye meeting there Mr. Dr. Pentecost say God bless the Zanoka and yesua nneoma pa na nim se edbe ye dwuma edamase bebre emre bia mahwe bia no Nyankopon onfa nhyemu emamo edamase. And say I can say na then we draw the curtains down, and this has been your host Felicia Akushi. I hope come next month, second Friday next month we'll also we'll bring another interesting topic. So follow us on all our social handles. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Bye bye. And we have our sister here, Poshke. She is one of our daughters. She has a cleaning agent that she sells. Poshke cleaning. Poshke cleaning agent. She has liquid soap, parazone, bleach, disinfectants, and shower gel. Her contact number is 0241789348. This is her contact number. If you want any of her cleaning agents, you can contact her and she will bring it to you. Thank you so much for being with us. God bless us all. Bye.